Alfred Lord Tennyson came after first generation and second generation of romantic poets. Coleridge, Wordsworth, Shelley. Then the latter poets like Keats, Byron, and Browning. I think the last named is contemporary of Lord Tennyson. So we find in the poems of Lord Tennyson some characteristics of romantic poetry. Because he immediately followed these people, romantic poets. And naturally, the beautiful nature pictures, it was characteristic of romantic poetry, nature poetry. Then lyrical strain, म्हणजे भावगीताचा भाग हा सुद्धा त्याच्यामध्ये आपल्याला अनुभवायला मिळत होता. देन सेन्स्युअसनेस, म्हणजे Keats poetry was sensuous. Sensuous means there were pictures in the words which satisfied our five senses: taste, seeing. This kind of the poetry in which these kind of emotions, these kind of tastes are satisfied are sensuous poetry. These all characteristic qualities are found in Alfred Lord Tennyson's poems. त्यांच्या कवितांमध्ये आपल्याला ही सगळी लक्षणं पाहायला मिळतात. देन सेकंड थिंग, बिसाइड्स दिस, या व्यतिरिक्त, if we think about Alfred Lord Tennyson's poetry, the progress which took place during his time, or the ideology of his time, is also prominently found in the poems of Alfred Lord Tennyson. Means Victorian attitude to life is also added by this poet in his poetry. The present poem, the name is The Lady of Shallot. The present poem's name is The Lady of Shallot. Shallot is a village. Shallot is a place, a lady who belongs to the place named Shallot. The Lady of Shallot is, if we take some perspective, जर आपण एक दृष्टिकोन घेतला, then we can connect this title with the old legends of King Arthur. King Arthur's stories were the stories of knights. किंग आर्थरच्या ज्या गोष्टी होत्या त्या ह्याच्यामध्ये असणाऱ्या त्या सरदारांच्या गोष्टी होत्या. अँड हेअर इज अ नाईट in this story. Then John William Waterhouse is a painter. He is a painter. He painted a picture of a lady, and that picture was named as the Lady of Shallot. त्या चित्राला नाव दिलं होतं. And the same picture was drawn by other painters as well. Not only this person, but these people, other people had also drawn this picture. Social attention was the reason that Alfred Lord Tennyson also decided to write a poem about it. Means people were talking about the picture of Lady of Shallot. So he combined in this poem the old tradition of Arthurian stories and the art of painting. Both of these things are found in this poem. Then he took for this a ballad form. This poem is subtitled as a ballad by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Now, what do you know about ballad which is translated in Marathi as povada? So, ballad is a form of poetry or lyrical poetry. Have you heard ballad povada? There are in Marathi शिवाजी महाराजांचा पोवाडा, विष्णुबाळाचा पोवाडा. So ballad is a lyrical poetry. Lyrical poetry is that poetry which is sung to the accompaniment of instruments. वाद्याच्या सहाय्यानं समवेत म्हटलेलं गायलेली गोष्ट म्हणजे पोवाडा. Now this form of povada or ballad originated long back. This form of telling story in the form of a song began long back. Long back means with the civilization. First, the ballads were orally telling stories. So, orally means tondi. Orally means tondi. Orally telling stories of adventures and the kinds, revenge, साहस कथा किंवा बदल्याच्या कथा किंवा प्रेमकथा याबद्दलच्या ह्या ओरली गोष्टी सांगितल्या जात होत्या. सो दिस ballad were anonymously written. Nobody knew who wrote. There was a tradition of family tradition of composing ballads. काय होती? परंपरा होती, फॅमिली परंपरा होती की ज्याच्यामध्ये and this tradition was passed from father to son. Sometimes the same ballads were picked up by society, means in family as well as society, both rewrote the ballad. How it happened, you see. If I tell you I sing a song and you listen it and you liked it, then what will you do? If it is not written, you will try to reproduce. And in the process of reproducing, rewriting, you will add your sentences. This thing happens. This thing happens. Kai re? So you sit there. This thing happens. Addition is done. Addition is done. Now this addition improves the ballad. So it was, or the ballad form in the old days was the community activity, social activity, which developed as society developed. This ballad is called traditional ballad. हा जो बॅलॅड आहे हा ट्रॅडिशनल बॅलॅड म्हटलं जातं. आणि दुसरा कसला आहे तो? फोक बॅलॅड. द सेम इज कॉल्ड फोक बॅलॅड. Traditional ballad, and this is same. The next thing, now if we think about the qualities of ballad, we come across typical set of images. ज्यावेळी आपण या बॅलॅड फॉर्मची लक्षणं बघायला लागतो त्यावेळी इट फॉलोज बॅलॅड मीटर और बॅलॅड स्टांझा. बॅलॅड स्टांझा त्याच्यामध्ये फॉलो केला जातो, विच हॅज फोर स्ट्रेस्ड लाईन फॉलोड बाय 3 स्ट्रेस्ड लाईन. त्याच्यावर 4 जोर दिलेले असतील किंवा 3 जोर दिलेले असतील. अशा ओळी एका पाठोपाठ एक येतात. पेंटामीटर, ऑफ पेंटामीटर, इॲम्बिक पेंटामीटर. ओके. and these second and third line or fourth line rhymed. Second and fourth lines rhymed. This was first quality, characteristic feature of ballad. Second, descriptive terms were used. Means the terms which will vividly bring in front of your eye the image of the idea which writer talks. लेखक जे बोलत असेल त्याची कल्पना, ती गोष्ट आपल्या डोळ्यासमोर ठसठशीतपणे निर्माण व्हावी. मीन्स They were revenge tragedies. बदल्याचे पोवाडे होते, revenge ballads. And in these revenge ballads, blood is image. So blood red, purple, such kind of images were used. अशा प्रकारच्या प्रतिमा त्याच्यामध्ये वापरल्या जायच्या. Besides this, the rhythm was maintained. Now these were the characteristic qualities of traditional ballad. ह्या ज्या होत्या त्या ट्रॅडिशनल बॅलॅडच्या क्वालिटीज होत्या. इन 18th century, 18व्या शतकामध्ये और 17th century, broadside ballads were printed. Broadside is a paper. On a particular size of paper, the ballads were written, and those were called broadside ballads. Okay. Later, few writers copied the style of ballad to write their own poems after the fashion of ballad. नंतर काही लेखकांनी ही स्टाईल कॉपी केली आणि कविता लिहायला सुरुवात केली. Those ballads are called literary ballads. या बॅलॅड्सना काय म्हटलं जायचं? वाङ्मयीन पोवाडे, लिटररी बॅलॅड्स. In the last semester, we have studied the rhyme of ancient mariner. Though long, that ballad is an example of literary ballads. Wordsworth named his anthology of poetry as lyrical ballads. वर्ड्सवर्थनं पुस्तकाला जे नाव दिलं त्याला सुद्धा लिरिकल बॅलॅड्स म्हटलं गेलं. सो when Alfred Lord Tennyson was writing this ballad, he was simply producing literary ballad. तो वाङ्मयीन पोवाडा लिहित होता. After the fashion of the time, or he was influenced by romantic poets. This poem or this ballad was written in 1832 and later it was revised in 1842. Important themes which we come across in this are isolation, fate, and art versus reality. So what is isolation? Isolation means separation from society. Now, in isolation, we are alone. Isolation means separating from society. Isolation hospital is in Kolhapur. When isolation hospital was established, it was far away from Kolhapur because it was isolated from the society. So, isolation is separation. And people cannot live isolated for a long time. some people, few people, in pursuit of their dreams, follow isolated life. They sacrifice society. एखादी व्यक्ती आपल्या स्वप्नाच्या पाठीमागं धावत धावत एकटीच धावते. It doesn't bother about. Sometimes what happens, especially artists, kalakar, they give time to their art and live isolated life. However, it becomes impossible for artist to live alone. हे कलाकाराला एकटं राहणं अवघड होतं ना. सो ही रिअलायझेस इम्पॉर्टन्स ऑफ मिक्सिंग विथ लाईफ, मिक्सिंग इन लाईफ. आयसोलेशन इज पेनफुल. You need to mix in society. To make your life happy and delightful, pleasurable. Then another one theme is theme of fate. We are born, आपण जन्माला आलोय. We are born out of this earth. मातीत जन्माला आलेलो आहे आपण. And we will mix in the earth. This is our destiny. We are to die. There is no escape. And this fate of human being is also explored in this poem, in this ballad. This is also explored in this ballad. Then third theme which you will come across in this poem is art in opposition to life. Art cannot have independent life. Or independent identity. कला ही जीवनापासून वेगळी स्वतःचं असं अस्तित्व त्याला असू शकत नाही ना. बिकॉज आर्ट इमिटेट्स लाईफ. जीवनाचं इमिटेशन केलं जातं. अँड अनलेस अँड अंटिल you mix with the life, you cannot understand what life is. From the books, you may learn with the help of your abilities to learn. शिकण्याची तुमचं कौशल्य आहे तेवढ्यानुसार तुम्ही ते हे करू शकाल. But the real experience of taking pleasure in small incidents of life, sharing life with your friends, sharing life with your life with your partner, all these things would give you pleasure if you become part of it. Otherwise it doesn't happen. So art cannot live alone. Art and life are complementary things. Art and life are complementary things. And these three themes are discussed in this poem. या तीन गोष्टी या कवितेमध्ये किंवा हे तीन विचार या कवितेमध्ये आपल्याला लेखकानं विचार केलेले दिसतात. नाव वी हॅव टॉक्ड अबाउट बॅलॅड फॉर्म. Already we discussed what is ballad form, 4 parts, quatrains, rhyme scheme, repetition and imagery. These things we have. Now, the poem is divided in 4 parts. कविता ही 4 पार्टमध्ये डिवाइड झालेली आहे. Here, the Lady of Shallot is central character of the poem. कवितेचं मुख्य कॅरेक्टर कोण आहे? लेडी ऑफ शॅलट. शी लिव्स इन ए टॉवर. दिस टॉवर इज little away from कॅमेलॉट. कॅमेलॉट पासून हा टॉवर जो आहे तो काही किलोमीटर अंतरावर आहे. इट इज अवे फ्रॉम कॅमेलॉट. ए रिवर रन्स बाय द कॅमेलॉट. अ रिवर रन्स बाय द कॅमेलॉट. अँड इन दिस रिवर देर इज वन आयल. आणि या नदीमध्ये एक आयलंड आहे. आयलंड म्हणजे काय? बेट आहे. अँड शी लिव्स ऑन धिस आयलंड. नाव शी इज cursed. She is cursed. Cursed means शापित. But we do not know who has cursed her. आपल्याला माहीत नाही की कुणी तिला शाप दिलेला आहे. Probably through the reference to curse, the poet might be suggesting that when we are born, we are cursed to die. Our fate is to die. आपण ज्यावेळी या जगामध्ये जन्म घेतो त्यावेळी निश्चित आहे की आपण मरणार आहे. And this is also one kind of curse. And everybody tries to give answer to this question, this problem of their life, this curse, according to their own way. त्यांच्या स्वतःच्या पद्धतीनं आपण आपल्या आपल्या याला हा म्हणजे उत्तर देण्याचा प्रयत्न करतो. Now by not identifying who has cursed, not identifying this, poet imparts general sense to the theme. This curse does not mean it is for only Lady of Shallot, but this curse is for the society. If the curse had been particularly named, जर याचं नाव दिलं असतं कुणी शाप दिलाय आणि तो तिला दिलाय, then it becomes individualized. But the identity of the person who has cursed is hidden. पण ज्या व्यक्तीनं हा शाप दिलेला आहे त्या व्यक्तीची आयडेंटिटी काय केलेली आहे? झाकून ठेवलेली आहे, लपवून ठेवलेली आहे. अँड दॅट मेक्स इट अ कॉमन थिंग. आणि त्यामुळं काय होतं? ही कॉमन थिंग होते. टुडे इवन समबडी कर्स, यू ऑल्सो कर्स सम ऑफ युअर फ्रेंड. सो कर्स इज अ कॉमन थिंग. शाप देणं ही कॉमन थिंग आहे. इट इज फ्रॉम डे टू डे ॲक्टिव्हिटीज, स्मॉल इन्सिडेंट्स टू a curse of a different, intense, passionate curse. Now she is cursed to live isolated life. She is cursed to live isolated right. एकटंच जीवन जगण्याचं तिला शाप आहे. And she cannot look on the real nature. She cannot mix with society, away from society. But she can look at the society through mirror. Okay. So she has hung mirror in front of her. तिने तिच्या समोर mirror attach केलेला आहे. And in that mirror is set in such a way that when people pass along the road, their image is seen by them. So mirror becomes symbol of art. In painting is mirror. चित्र सुद्धा एक आरसा आहे. Am I right? Even a play is also a mirror. Shakespeare said it, Ben Jonson said it, many people said, many writers said that we are holding mirror to society. So mirror is symbol of art, symbol of artistic ability, creative thing. So in this mirror, she views, vinate, the images which she looks passing on the road. Means Lady of Shallot waving her web, तिचं जाळं विणणारी ती Lady of Shallot becomes a symbol of art. कलेचं सिंबॉल बनते ना, of a writer. And she also becomes a symbol of suffering. She becomes symbol of suffering. वेदनेचं सुद्धा ती सिंबॉल बनते ना, बरोबर आहे का नाही? लिव्हिंग अलोन. नाव Vedana has a special ability. Yes. Vedana has special ability. Vedanela एक special ability. We do not like pain for ourselves. We do not wish ourselves to pass through an accident and get our hands broken. We don't want it. But if somebody suffers from accident, our heart sympathizes with him. Okay. Now, having an accident is painful for the person who has that accident. But somehow when we sympathize with him, आपण ज्यावेळी त्याच्या दुःखामध्ये सामील होतो, that it gives us pleasure. Does it not? आनंद देत नाही का ती गोष्ट? म्हणजे एखाद्याचा हात मोडलाय ते त्याला, पण त्याचा हात मोडलाय हे आपल्या मनामध्ये एक भावना निर्माण करतं सिंपतीची. आपण ती व्यक्त करतो आणि ती व्यक्त केल्यानंतर आपल्याला आनंद मिळतो. सो इन अ वे सफरिंग gives us pleasure. So she becomes, and this is function of art. आणि हे काम आहे, वाङ्मयाचं काम आहे तुम्हाला आनंद देणं. So she becomes symbol of suffering of humans. Because At last, we are to die. शेवटी आपल्याला मरायला पाहिजे ना. And that is suffering. That is also one kind of suffering. We are born and it is our fate. आपलं नशीब आहे ते की we must die. So does the river. असंच नदीचं पण होतं. She is born, she passes from hills to the ocean. And in ocean, she loses her self. She becomes part of ocean. In a sense, she dies. So the river, which is passing by the Camelot, is a symbol of death. Is a symbol of death. So in first part of the poem, we see the Lady of Shallot alone, isolated from the human existence and cursed to experience life through imagination, through reflection. She cannot be part of real life. But how long she can live alone? How long she can live alone? It is impossible to live alone, away from society. So in the next part, we see that she is on this island. She has a house. In the house, she has fixed mirror, and people pass by the road. This is river. When people pass by the road, she watches their images in the mirror. And different kind of people who are lovers, laborers, people who are churls, means bad boys, even women having bad character, knights, everybody which is related with the community passes on that road. या रस्त्यावरती पास होतं. And there, by watching in the mirror, she weaves a web with these images. या इमेजेसच्या माध्यमातून ती तिथं एक जाळं तयार करते. One day, she, in the third part, one day she watches Sir Lancelot in the mirror, who is armored. Armored means who has his costume of a knight. And Sir Lancelot's image makes her fall in his love. And now once she falls in love, she cannot stay there. एकदा ती तिच्या प्रेमात पडली, तिला तिथे राहता येत नाही ना. सो शी डिसाइड्स टू अचीव हर लव. तिचं प्रेम प्राप्त करण्यासाठी ती प्रयत्न करायचं म्हणते. अँड शी लिव्स द मिरर फॉर रियल लाईफ. अँड धिस ट्रिगर्स द कर्स. आणि याच्यामुळं तो जो शाप आहे तो ॲक्टिव्ह होतो. याच्यामुळं तो शाप ॲक्टिव्ह होतो. शी इज कर्स्ड. शी इन द लास्ट पार्ट शी लिव्स हर टॉवर. शी गेट्स अवे फ्रॉम दॅट टॉवर. त्या टॉवरपासून ती बाजूला जाते. शी फ्लोट्स डाऊन द रिवर अँड डाईज. While dying, she had something written on the paper that was found by the people. काहीतरी तिनं लिहिलेलं होतं. So she says that no longer I am a horrible person for you. No longer I am a spirit which you thought I was to be. मला तुम्ही बघू ना, तुम्ही तिथे एकटीच राहायचे, एकटीच गाणं म्हणायचे. म्हणजे याच्यामुळे तुमच्या मनामध्ये काय झाली, भीती निर्माण झाली असेल माझ्याबद्दल. मॅजिकल elements are used in poetry जादुई गोष्टी किंवा वंडरफुल गोष्टी या कवितेमध्ये वापरल्या जातात. What is the function of these magical things? How does this function, how does this curse and the image of Lady of Shallot work in this poem? या कवितेमध्ये काय काम करते ही लेडी ऑफ शॅलट म्हणा किंवा दिस कर्स, ह्या दोन गोष्टी ज्या आहेत या काय म्हणून काम करतात या कवितेमध्ये. सो इट फंक्शन्स दिस, दे आर मॅजिकल थिंग्स. यू डू नॉट बिलीव्ह दॅट देअर वुड बी अ लेडी लाईक शॅलट. वी डू नॉट बिलीव्ह इन कर्स. वी बिलीव्ह इन कर्स because generally people say we accept it by the opinion of people. आपण लोकांचं मन आहे म्हणून, मत आहे म्हणून ते स्वीकारतो. we accept it, आपण ते स्वीकारतो because it is believed by many people. It is believed by many people. We accept it because it is convention in poetry to use it. आपण हे का स्वीकारतो? कारण ही एक परंपरा आहे. कसली परंपरा आहे की कवितेमध्ये असल्या गोष्टी वापरायच्या. वी बिलीव्ह दॅट वन्स अपॉन अ टाइम देअर वॉज अ किंग. आपण विश्वास ठेवतो ना. प्रत्येक गोष्टीची सुरुवात अशीच असते, पण आपल्याला पटते कारण असं आपल्याला परंपरेने, म्हणजे गोष्ट लिहिण्याची जी परंपरा आहे त्या परंपरेमध्ये असं म्हणलेलं की वन्स अपॉन अ टाइम देअर वॉज अ किंग, ही हॅड अ ब्युटिफुल डॉटर. ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी गोष्टीमध्ये असतात ना, म्हणून ते आपण विश्वास ठेवतो. हू सेड दॅट द गुड थॉट शुड बी प्रेझेंटेड इन द फॉर्म ऑफ अ सॉन्ग. गाण्याच्या स्वरूपामध्ये चांगला विचार मांडावा असं कोणी सांगितले? बट वी लिसन सॉन्ग अँड गेट प्लेजर. आपण गाणं ऐकतो आणि आनंद मिळतो. का मिळतो आपल्याला? बिकॉज इट इज कन्व्हेन्शन. अशी परंपरा आहे की असं गाणं म्हणायचं. मग ते आपण असं का म्हणत नाही? एखादं गाणं म्हणायला लागला तर त्याला वेडा का म्हणत नाही आपण? अदरवाईज मीन्स आउट ऑफ 100 people one person is singing a song loudly, it is a weird thing. But we accept it because convention, tradition tells it. So few things which are means this magical functions, हे जे magical आहे, functions to bring, to give you a shock or generate fear in you or horror in you. When the people saw her in the river, on the isle, त्या बेटावर ज्यावेळी लोकांनी, she was singing, she was never seen by anybody, people thought that it is a Lady of Shallot. ती Lady of Shallot आहे. And Lady of Shallot is compared to nothing in a shape which is only imagination, which may be like a ghost. ती कदाचित भूतासारखी पण असेल. So people did not go near her. They were inspired with fear or horror. दुःख आणि वेदना ह्या त्याच्या मनामध्ये निर्माण होत होत्या. When at the last, so the popular conception, लोकांचं मत काय होतं, she is a ghost. But she had written a cheat on which she had mentioned that I also feel emotions and I died. Means you need not fear me. म्हणजे तुम्ही, मी मेले म्हणजे मी माणूस आहे ना, मी मेले म्हणजे आय एम डेड, इट मीन्स आय एम अ ह्युमन बीइंग. अदरवाइज आय वुड नॉट डाय if I were a ghost, a spirit, as you think to be, I wouldn't have died. So do not panic. Do not panic. I also belong to you. I cannot live in isolation. I am part of you. This statement is made by poet through these 4 sections. या 4 सेक्शन मधून हे स्टेटमेंट कवीनं आपल्याला इथं केलेलं आहे. ना हां, यस यस, हां, yes yes yes. So isolation, there are themes I have talked at the beginning of the poem. Then it is about literary devices. I told you, yes I'll tell, I told you that nature, the river, means we have in the poem vivid descriptions of nature, the river and the village. You see, the sensuousness of nature, the progressive nature or as of life of river, and the common society of Camelot. Means everything which comes in this poem comes in description of sensuousness. You see, in the first part of the poem, how the poet uses, look at the blackboard. On either side of the river lie long fields of barley and of rye. That clothe the world and meet the sky, and through the field the road runs by. To many towered Camelot, the yellow-leaved water lily, the green-sheathed daffodilly, tremble in the water chilly, round about the shallot. There is rhythm. Didn't you feel the rhythm in the structure? तुला त्याच्यामध्ये लय जाणवली ना? And this rhythm is achieved, means this is achieved by the skill of writer. रिदम प्राप्त करणं हे कुणाचं काम आहे? लेखकाचं स्किल आहे ना, लेखकाचं कौशल्य आहे. ते लेखकानं हे शब्द असे म्हणजे निवडलेले आहेत की जे सायमल्टेनियसली फंक्शन, फॉर्म प्लस कंटेंट इज आर्ट. म्हणजे हे जे आहे फॉर्म म्हणजे कसं, in form there are means you see the kind of line they use in poems. If we talk in the context of poem, then form means melody. Say few words are there which create melody. Some rhythms are there which generate different emotions. You see, when you sing a song from this, any song, Hindi song, Hati jaisi dhum chak dhum dhum chak dhum dhum chak dhum dhum chak. When this sound is generated, certain kind of emotion is that melody generates, and this is function of form, and this form together with this structure generates content. कंटेंट हा जनरेट केला जातो त्या फॉर्ममध्ये जे तो भरतो त्याच्यामुळे तो कंटेंट जनरेट होतो. अँड बोथ ऑफ दिस टुगेदर मे बी कॉल्ड प्लॉट और मे बी कॉल्ड कम्प्लीट स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द पोएम. हे आपण सगळं टुगेदर एकत्र म्हटलं तर ते एक कविता होऊ शकते. म्हणजे अलंकार असतात, मराठीमध्ये तुला शुद्ध सांगायचं म्हटलं तर अलंकार असतात. अलंकार वापरून कविता लिहिली जाते आणि मग ते अलंकार वापरून कविता लिहिली की त्याचा एक रिदम तयार होतो. मना सज्जना भक्ती पंथेची जावे. वेन दिस पॅटर्न इज फॉलोड, it generates some certain feelings in our mind, and those feelings are related with certain realities of life. आणि हे जे फिलिंग्स आहेत किंवा काही वास्तवाशी रिलेट केलेले आहेत. म्हणजे मना सज्जना भक्ती पंथेची जावे, वी नो द रामदास ट्रेडिशन and this automatically gets connected to it. So this is function of the function of these devices, and poet has used these devices very effectively in this poem. आणि कवीनं या कवितेमध्ये ही सगळी डिव्हायसेस वापरलेली आहेत. हिअर द मिरर इज सिम्बॉल ऑफ इल्युजन व्हर्सेस रियालिटी. रिफ्लेक्शन होतं ना, मिररमध्ये जी बघतो ती इमेज कशी असते, भ्रम असतो, इल्युजन असतं. आणि जी इमेज रिफ्लेक्ट होते तिची मूळ कल्पना ही. सो व्हॉट एव्हर रिफ्लेक्ट्स इन आवर माइंड इज मिरर. वेब इज क्रिएटिव्हिटी. वेब काय तसाच तयार होत नाही, तो एक एक धागा गुंफून तयार होतो ना. अँड दॅट इज रिलेटेड विथ क्रिएटिव्हिटी. आणि हे निर्मिती याच्यामध्ये आहे. द कन्व्हेन्शन ऑफ बॅलॅड, रिपिटेशन याच्यामध्ये वापरलेलं आहे. बघा, द लेडी ऑफ शॅलट तिसऱ्या पार्टच्या शेवटी त्या शेवटच्या कॅरेक्टरवर. त्यानंतर द ग्रीन शॅलट, नेम शॅलट इज रिपीटेड. शॅलट इज रिपीटेड बिसाइड द रिमोट शॅलट. These end lines are repetition, isn't it? And this repetition is used by the poet in this poem. Now, in the last part, we come across certain pictures, descriptions in this poem. आपल्याला काही डिस्क्रिप्शन्स या कवितेमध्ये मिळतात. सर लॉन्सिलॉटचं डिस्क्रिप्शन किंवा द डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ द पेंटिंग ऑफ द वेब विच शी हॅज ड्रॉन ऑर द वेब शी हॅज विव्ड. तिनं जे जाळं विणलेलं आहे त्या जाळ्याचं किंवा त्या कशिद्याचं सुद्धा वर्णन या कवितेमध्ये आपल्याला पाहायला मिळतं. नाव दीज इमेजेस आर visual interpretations of the paintings of John William Waterhouse किंवा डांटे गॅब्रियल रॉझेटी किंवा विल्यम होलमन हंट या 3 पेंटरनी drew a picture of Lady of Shallot. लेडी ऑफ शॅलटचं चित्र काढलं आणि त्या चित्रापासून दिस डिस्क्रिप्शन्स काम. म्हणजे हे असं नाही की त्या चित्रामध्ये जे होतं नाव वी कॅन सी ऑल these थिंग्स. If we ask one question while reading the poem, how Tennyson has been successful in projecting beauty of Lady of Shallot, the sorrow through which she passes, and the fate she is destined to. How she describes it. So there are beautiful pictures, means rhythm in the play, and when she is sad, the rhythm changes. The fate is drawn by the symbol of river. All these things are there. If means you can have certain questions. Why do you think the lady chooses to look at Camelot despite the curse? तिला ती शापित असते तरी सुद्धा कॅमेलॉट गावाकडे बघायचं ती का ठरवते? कारण शी कॅनॉट लिव्ह विदाउट रियालिटी. ओनली रिफ्लेक्शन इन मिरर डज नॉट काउंट. व्हॉट डज द पोएम सजेस्ट अबाउट द आर्टिस्ट अँड देअर कनेक्शन टू सोसायटी? हा सुद्धा मुद्दा आपण डिस्कस केलेला आहे. ओके. देन द मूड अँड ॲटमॉस्फिअर थ्रू द लँग्वेज. सो रिदम इट इज प्लीझंट मूड. ॲटमॉस्फिअर इज happy, sad, and it is mixed together as poem progresses with the mood of the lady. The rhythm of the stanza changes, rhythm of the line changes. So in this way we have given complete discussion about the poem Lady of Shallot written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Thank you.